Hello and welcome to the African Transportation Convos. My name is Jonas Ai. Today I bring to you my conversation with Riaan Rautenbach, the brain behind Life Freight, a load boarding app that seeks to remove the inefficiency of dead freight, reduce cost of transacting transportation business, and many more. Riaan tells us about himself and proceeds to demonstrate how this app works. He enumerates the advantages, and I intend to ask him some questions in the interest of cargo owners and transporters. Take a listen.
Okay, myself, I started working as a clerk, and then later on I did some coding for a short while. I stopped coding because it's not my personality. I enjoyed coding, but I ended up just sitting behind the computer, and my personality is I like to engage with people. And then I became an accountant, studied part-time at UNISA, University of South Africa, correspondence. And I then later became a cost and management accountant, financial manager. And then later years also, at one point, I was a sales and marketing manager for a big national company in South Africa. And in 4 years, I've achieved quite a lot in terms of sales and marketing. I also, the last nearly 20 years, I have held positions as general manager of various milling plants, maize and flour. And on those plants, I have also acted as a depot for pastas, biscuits, animal feeds, stock feeds, sugar, oil, etc. And all of that, as you know, needs transport. And being the general manager, I had to coordinate, make sure that the raw materials, the grains, wheat, flour that comes into the mill, the transportation and everything is controlled, obviously, because you can have major stock losses if it's not properly done. And also the time. If your silos are nearly empty, you must have your ducks in a row to prevent the plant from stopping production. If the plant stops production, you stop getting money. So all of these headaches I have experienced on most of the sites where I was general manager at these milling plants. I had anything between about 18 to 30 trucks, 30 plus vehicles of my own, plus contracted transport. So I know all the ins and outs of phoning the driver. Where is the driver? Where is my flour? My bakery is going to run out, blah, blah. So all these headaches, truck has broken down, the truck's tire has burst, all of these, and has given me a big, big background as to the costs involved, the times involved in phone calls, administration, emails, quotations, etc., etc., etc. And I have been exposed to living and working in South Africa, in Swaziland, in Francistown, Botswana. Botswana, I've spent 5 years. Then in Zambia, I lived in the Copper Belt. I managed over a period of 7 years, I managed 2 different milling plants. And then 2 years in Nigeria at Calabar. I managed flour mills of Nigeria's big plant there and moving quite a lot of volumes. And some years ago, I started thinking, because I'm thinking in terms of costs and logic, and I'm not a GM. The staff that worked with me knows me. I spent about 60% plus out of the office, of which about 20% is in the plants, to know what's going on, to know what's happening, power supply, technical stuff, all of that. And then about 40% I was out in the market, not having joy rides. I knew all my customers, I knew my bakeries, I knew my transporters, I knew their headaches and all of these things. And to, see how deliveries goes at the plants, at the bakeries, at the stores, at the shops. And then also great exposure at borders. I did business, plenty of business in DRC, Lubumbashi, Katenge province, some of the mine towns there. I did a lot of business with Zimbabwe, Bulawayo, and also the Midlands, and supplied a lot of bakeries and people there. And then also a little bit with Angola, did it trading, and Mozambique. So I was exposed to traveling quite a lot in these countries and by road, to a lot of people's surprise, even in Nigeria. I've traveled in Nugu, I've traveled Anambra, all of the towns in the southern side, coastal and inland. So I knew the lay of the land. And then I started thinking, but with tech, we can do something, especially for Africa, because communication is a problem. But nowadays, most of Africa is covered with data reception. And then data is cheaper than the phone calls, emails, etc. And then I come up with an idea to get a platform where anyone can expose their cargo loads for free, no cost. From a housewife or a small guy, he can add his loads at no cost. He uses the app at no cost. He downloads it at no cost. And my focus is also to enable everyone in Africa on an equal foot to compete in the logistics market and to utilize this facility at lowest cost, only data. Then the transporter side is on the app. That's the two legs of the app. We've got two apps, but they linked into the same database, the cargo supplier and the transporter. The cargo supplier can also be a warehouse or a production plant. And the manager can invite his distribution clerks on the application. So he can just manage everything from his phone. The same on the transport side. An individual with a motorcycle or a one-ton pickup, or your big dotliners, superlinks, side tippers, tankers, any vehicle can register and use the app. Any vehicle cargo category, any weight category. And on the transporter side, you can also register as individual, owner, driver, or you can register as a company. And they're the same. The manager or the owner of the company registers first the app, download it for free on his cell phone. Then from the application, he can invite if he's got a big operation, he can invite his loading planners or controllers, as they are away. And he invites them again from the app. Thus, the app knows who's reporting to him by putting in their name, surname, cell number, and then they get a unique link on an SMS to download the app for free. And then again, they will invite the drivers. The drivers will then also get a SMS with a unique link. So the app will know for this company, this is the loading planners, and below the loading planners, this is all the drivers. Now, during registration process on the app for everybody, before you download it, you must go through a registration because of securities. We need to verify the email address of the registrar and the cell phone number. That's the first step. Once that is, then he's got to go ahead. If it's an individual, he needs to fill in all his individual details. If it's a company, all the company's details. When it's a driver, the driver must also, we verify his cell phone and his email address, and then he must upload a photo of his passport or ID, of his valid driver's license, and the vehicle's details, amongst other things. We also make provision for hazardous goods. When you transport hazardous goods, for the permits, everything that is in the app. So for now, then that gives you a little bit of background. And then on the technical side, you mentioned earlier you tried something similar or you wanted to do something similar.
Sure.
An Uber application, which is a lot simpler than our application, consumes 5 megabytes of storage on your phone. Our app is cloud technology. You won't find it on the Google Play Store or on the iStore. You download it from our webpage.
Okay.
Our app doesn't even use half a megabyte of storage on your phone because it's cloud tech. It's just a window looking into the cloud. Everything is being handled on the cloud. The power of cloud tech, as well as you will hear, is the scalability is phenomenal. We are already available in 57 countries with this application and tested by Google developers. The app can handle 80,000 and more transactions in 1 second, which I can't even, my brain can't. Okay.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yes. Now, the other beauty of this app is because it's cloud tech, it's like Gmail. If you have a Gmail account, you can access it from your cell phone, you can access it from your laptop, your tablet, any device.
Sure. Yeah.
Our app speaks to any platform. That's also the other reason why we don't need to be on the Google or the iStore. Our app, when we do a coding change, it is valid for both iPhone and for your ordinary other devices. It can speak to any one of them. So I'm going to start sharing the screen and show you what the app will look like on the, let me just go in here. Okay, I'm going to go in there, share the screen. So now you can see my screen, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, now I'm going to open up for you. You see here, you can see the apps on my laptop.
Great.
We start with the Supplier.
Mm-hmm.
Then we open up the Supplier app, and here you can see it's similar to the one on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
We just changed the layout a little bit because it's bigger and wider, but it's still the same. On the phone, you will only have these two. Overdue and delivered will be moved underneath this one because the phone screen is narrower.
Right.
And then again here, I focused on the 4 major actions in transportation. You have pending cargo, you have in transit cargo, you have overdue cargo, and you have delivered cargo. And what does the cargo supplier do? If it's a housewife or a farmer or a company, big company wants to move goods, we classify everyone who wants to move cargo by road as a cargo supplier.
Right.
They want to add loads. That's their main function. And the rating, you will see later what the rating is about. The 2 parties will rate one another on every delivery. You'll see it later, but what it comes down to is, and that's how it will also give individuals assurance. How do I know I can trust this person? How do I know this person? So what the rating is, once the transporter has delivered a load, he will be rated by the owner of the cargo. On his communication, he will be rated on his timeousness, was the goods delivered in time, picked up in time, and he will be rated on how the goods was handled in transit. And as I'm speaking to you, we are bringing in a 4th rating on the transporter, the appearance of the driver and the vehicle.
Right.
Okay. And then again, the transporter will rate the cargo supplier on 3 criteria, which will give him a rating out of 5. The first one is, again, communication. The second one, all the info and detail about the load. And the third one is on the payment, most important, payment. So in other words, by this rating, we will eliminate the chances, all the people trying to do something funny, they're not paying the transporter is not delivering properly. So they will get a bad rating. Then the future, you will see now how it works. Because the owner of the cargo, when he adds a load on the system and the driver or a transport company sees this load, he will see what is the cargo owner's rating. And then when the transporter quote the owner of the cargo to transport the cargo, that owner will see on the quotation what is his rating. You understand?
Right.
Now I'm going to do one show for you. If you're an individual, it's straightforward. You register as one person, you put in your own details, and you put in your loads, whatever you want to move. If you are a company here, you can manage your staff. That's your menu. And that menu is, everything is the same on the cell phone. It's exactly the same app. You click here to fill them. I'll show you just now how that's being done when we get to the transporter side. And he can manage his and add his dispatch staff if it's not an individual but a company. If I have a distribution warehouse or a production company that's producing clothes and I want to send this, I will then invite as the manager my dispatch clerks, and they will capture all the loads. How do they capture the loads? Quite simple and easy. Open up, add a load. You will see, enter your pickup address. Or you can use your current location. Say, for instance, I'm a factory. I can put in my current location here. And it will ask me allow. I say allow my location, and there it's putting the address. Okay?
Right.
And that's Google Map link. You can see, powered by Google. Okay? Or else what I can do is I can put in here if I'm not there. So in other words, you can work with this app from anywhere where you are. It's only the driver that must have the app on his phone and in the vehicle. I'm just trying to find a place that's nearby so that I can do a proper demo for you.
Right.
Okay, let me just put here total. There it is, got one. I'm just using a filling station. This is just a demonstration. And then I say, I have here nice functions. You can put more than one load in one truck. That's why we have add another drop-off. Typically, for your distribution warehouses, they may be taking goods in one vehicle to 3 or 4 customers, isn't it?
Yes.
I'll show you now how that works. But now I want to show you another thing. If you have a big milling company and you've got a big farming co-op who is selling maize to the mill, what do? They sell it in bulk. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, instead of your operator capturing 100 loads of maize, the system will do it for him. He must just put in the total weight in kilograms. So let's say I've got 300,000 kilograms. You see what's happening on the app when I put over 30.
Yeah.
Then the app realizes this is not, this is a bulk load. But the app picks up 38,000 kilos per truckload automatically. But now I can overrule it. I can say, no, the trucks is going to carry 34,000. And you've noticed here at the bottom, the app will divide
individual loads.
Yes, and the last one of so much. Okay?
Right.
And you can now say you want one transporter to quote for all of this. Or you can say, I'm going to open it up for numerous. So one transporter can quote for 2 loads, the other one can quote for 6, and then you've got your 8. So I'm just showing you this feature for interest sake that you are aware it is there.
Yeah. Very interesting one. Yes.
Yeah. So I've thought about that. Now, let's say here we go back now to an ordinary delivery from a warehouse. For an example, we say this is a warehouse, and we say the first delivery address is going to be pick and pay Alice. And there I pick it up. Magalies Crane, Victoria Street, there it is.
Yeah.
You see, so the operator must always pick the Google address. If he enters here, it's not going to pick it up, so he must use the Google address on maps. Drop-off reference number, that is now whatever the reference number is, the waybill or whatever. Put in any number. And the description, let's say this is foods. And I can add up another delivery address. Okay. Let's say this one is going to be Checkers. Checkers, Montana. And there's the other one. And we say here, drop-off reference. We say B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the waybill. And the description, we say this is also foods. Okay. And I can carry on 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's put just the third one here. We say Woolworths. And that will Cinnaville. There it is. And we say drop off reference. This is drop off C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we say this is clothes. Okay. Now we put cargo category. You will be asked to decide which cargo category it is by clicking here at the bottom. You see there. You click on the arrow, it will open up all your major cargo categories. But what's happened on this case? We've got food and clothes.
Yeah.
Now I can say not perishable foods, not that, not that. I say other.
Right.
Then it will ask you, what is the description? You say foods and
Clothes.
The cargo weight, we say this is 20 tons, 20,000 kilograms. The reason why we work in kilograms is we want to cater for the guys even with small vehicles, even motorcycles. We can do delivery. Loading method, we can pick forklift or we can put labor, depending. And other is, for instance, front-end loaders or blowpipes. But the majority is forklift and labor. Let's do this forklift. I want to show you, we even built in pallets here. Forklift, and then what happens is, what is the expected start loading date? We say it's today. We say what's the completion? We say it's today, or let's say Friday. Then, when do we want the quotes to close? We say tomorrow. The quotations here must close. Let me just tick that one up again. Okay. And then we go to the next field. And the next field is, do I have freight insurance cover? Say no. Do you have any other requirements? If you say yes, it'll open again a field for you. And then you can say here what you want to tell the transporter that will hopefully quote you. You say close goods to protect from getting wet.
Right.
You can type any other message as well. That is now for the supposedly transporter. Is your cargo palletized? Yes, in this case. Now it's going to open up and say, select your pallet size. There you have it. You collect your pallet sizes. Please enter the quantity. We say that's 20 pallets. And now I say, what is my payment terms? And mostly it's COD throughout Africa.
Right.
Or if it's otherwise, you change it to otherwise. Order reference number, we say the order reference is WA12345. And then the operator confirms. Because life rate's not responsible for the user's input. Remember that. That everybody must understand clearly. Life rate gives you a tool where the owner of cargo and the owner of a vehicle can connect. And you'll see now how they're going to connect, saving money on phone calls, emails, quotations, all of that. Now I submit. If I want, I just go back and I can now scrutinize everything if it's correct. And if I'm happy, I will say submit. If you missed one of the fields, it will not allow you to submit.
Submit, right.
Then you must just go and review. Now I submit the load. It will tell you the load is saved successfully. Okay, so now my load is on the app, but what happens now? This means any transporter in that area can pick that load and quote you. And what we do here is the quotations are on a closed quotation system because we've got the rating system. We don't want a bidding platform where the people do cutthroat business. We want to tell them, you can look at the rating and the price, both, and you can then decide which transporter you're going to use. Now we're going to the transporter side. I want to show you what's happening. And this feature I have not seen in any other platform or transport app. I have not. Now what is I've got now my transporters here, and then I just want to show you here, we come back quickly again, recap. I can add my manager or my loading planners. And if I add it, it'll ask you the name, surname, mobile number. And if you click, I confirm this information I entered is correct, and there you are agreed to the terms of policies, because as I say, we give the people a tool. They must make sure they're responsible. So then you invite that controller, and the controller will then do all your find loads. And the same again on your drivers. You will invite your drivers. There's one driver. You can add another driver by putting in his email. And when the driver registers, as I've said before, they must upload their ID photo. They must upload their valid driver's license and the vehicle registration. And if they have hazardous goods permits and all of that. And then here you will see the vehicles. You can manage your vehicles here and add another vehicle. And then you can also edit and review your vehicles here and change them, because sometimes you sell the vehicles, sometimes you get a new vehicle. And there's your vehicle details and the capacity of it can drive. Now, look how nice this is. I'm sitting somewhere. I know my vehicle is in Pretoria. Find loads. Allow location. But just for an example, say I'm not in Pretoria, like then I just change that above. Search for a specific town. So I can sit in the transport office, but my truck can be in another town. Then I'll click there. Now search a city. I can set Pretoria, South Africa, for an example. And I can select. I can search for loads up to 300 kilometers around any town. But let's say in this case 100. Select cargo category, and I can specify which cargo category. Or I can say I want to search for all the cargo. Maximum load. If I have a small vehicle, I'm not going to waste time looking at loads that's above my vehicle capacity. But in this case, I can say also all, or I can pick my specific vehicle's capacity. Search all, and then here, I can search for a specific from date to date. In other words, even in future, if I know my truck's going to be next week in a town, I can search for next week. Or I can even say to the system here at the top, search any date. Then it will search any future dates. And look at this. Now I click find my freight. Have you ever seen you are capable of finding loads this easy? You see?
Right.
And there's the load that I'm using now as an example. Now, I'm the transporter now. I'm not the cargo supplier. I have found a load for my truck. But I'm first looking at this. It's foods and clothes. Okay, my truck can do that. It's 11 kilometers. It's 20,000 kilograms, 20 tons. My truck can do it. I'm interested. Then I click here. And it'll open up all the detail that I need to quote as a transporter. It tells me cargo category is other. That's food and clothes. So it's mixed. And it's forklift. They're going to load with a forklift. There is multi-transport contract. Pickup point is Pretoria. See here, I don't give the transporter yet the detail address.
Right.
But I tell them, and they can see on the map more or less where it is, and they can see the distance. It's enough info for them to do a quotation. And they can see there's a drop-off point 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Expected start loading date is today, and they want it delivered by Friday. All right, freight insurance, no. COD, okay, they're going to pay me cash. Additional notes, close goods to protect from getting wet. And then I see, all right, I can do that. Pallet configuration, yes. These size pallets, 20, my vehicle can take it. The supplier's rating is 4.8 out of 5. Well, I take the chance to quote him.
Right.
My vehicle is there, my vehicle is capable, and the guy has got a good rating. I'm going to quote him. I press on quote. Then the form is generated auto. And now again, me as a transporter, I can even take a chance and tell him, no, he must, if you say, for instance, he said 7 days, I can still change it to COD if I want to, take the chance.
Right.
Or I accept it COD as it is. And then here I can rate him per kilometer. and it can be per ton, and it can be fixed.
Fixed.
Let's do it per ton. Let's say we're going to charge this guy 1,500 rands, and if it's in your country, it will be in your in US dollar. Okay. Most African countries, I don't know with you, but it's normally in US dollar. Then I can even choose if I want to be fancy and give him discount or not. Let's say I'm going to try and give this guy a small discount of 2% just to be smart. And if I'm tax registered, if there's no tax, I leave it no tax.
Right.
If I'm tax registered, I choose what is my tax percentage. Let's leave it at no tax. I'm not tax registered. And then any notes here, I can type in whatever I want as the transporter. I review my quotation here. I see no, but maybe this is going to be a little bit too high. Let's change it. I want to change it. Okay. That's a little bit better. Okay. And then I say, I confirm the information is correct. Because it's not life rate that's quoting him, it's the transporter. And the transporter is not quoting life rate. He is quoting the owner of the load. You see, the transaction is still between the transporter and the owner of the cargo. We are giving them a platform where they meet. Yeah. Now he says, all right, send the quote. I'm happy. I've looked at everything. Oh, wait, I want to tell him something else. I'm happy now. Send the quotation. And then it's created. Now you will see what happens. That owner of the cargo will, number one, get an email that will tell him, you have received a quote. Okay? You see, here it is. Right. And you see how stable our system is. The quote is already, the time is 4:38. Immediately it was sent. He opens up his email. You've received a quote. You have been quoted by this guy. Go to your quote. Please log into your supplier app. Then he says, all right, I've got the notice, delete it. I'm going to my supplier app. This is the supplier app because they add loads. And he clicks under his pending cargo. And he sees there's the load, foods and clothes. He opens it up. And there you see, I have received a quotation from transporter Christian. And here he sees this is the load. That's the pickup points. Yes, I remember them. And the transporter's rating is 4.8 out of 5. It's not too bad. And then I decide if this is an acceptable quote or not. I can reject or I can accept. We accept it. What happens now again? The transporter gets a notification. There it is. Quote has been accepted. Congratulations. Your quotation has been accepted by this guy. Now I know my vehicle has got a job, isn't it? There's an agreement. Now I read here, to get your wheels rolling and to do what you do best, please follow the next steps. Log into your life rate and pay your invoice for the fee due to life rate. We ask a minimal fee, a few cents per kilometers, within 24 hours. After the payment, please assign a driver to the load within 12 hours. Once your payment to life rate has been processed, you will automatically be enabled via the life rate app chat to engage directly with the cargo supplier to engage for the collection and transportation details of the load. Time is money in transport. Thus, time is a critical component of success as much as perfect delivery and collection every time. Please note, failure to the action above steps within the prescribed time limits will result in you forfeiting the load and deactivation of your life rate account, which will open up this opportunity to other available transporters. Be prompt and professional, act swiftly. Why do we do this? We need transporters to do the job. If he's
Right.
quoted and his quote is accepted, he must do the job, because you know as well, the guys who wants to move goods, they can't wait for someone.
Sure.
So he must now act. So he got his notice. He has got it transported, puts a bank card on the app, like you buy goods on internet.
Yeah.
Everybody nowadays, most people know how to buy things on internet. So you load your card. I'll just show you here by the settings. Here is your payment methods, your driver's passwords, company information, go to dashboard, manage payment methods. There you can see your cards are there. You can add and you can delete your cards to do the payment, okay? So my card is in place. I can now go to my pending cargo. There's the foods and clothes load. And you see now still, I only see the town. There is no pickup address and delivery address. But I need to pay life rate only R5.43. Because life rate charges on these loads only 50 cents, South African cents. In Africa, it will be 3 US cents per kilometer. Okay? And for cargo that's below 500 kgs, it will be only 1 US cent. It's going to be a lot cheaper for the light loads, small loads. Now I look at my invoice, and this is the payment I must now make to life freight. Okay. So I look at this and I see it's only R5.43. I confirm this is okay. I want this job. I've quoted. That's small money for me for this advantage. I've already saved more money than that on a phone call by obtaining this load. You understand? Then I accept. See now what happens. We're using blockchain. The invoice was successfully paid.
Right.
But look now what happens. All the detail appears for the transporter. There it is. The pickup addresses is there in detail. This is his load. There's the chat box. You can start talking to the owner of the goods.
Right.
I will send truck immediately. Any message you can
Right.
type in there and you enter it. Okay, go back to the load, and then I've done the payment. I go down, I've told him I'm sending the ride. Now I'm assigning a driver. All the drivers that I've put on my app, or if I'm the owner driver, it's easy, it will be only me. But if I have 10, 20 drivers, I will be able to see them here. You will be able to scroll up and down. Now I'm going to assign this driver. And now you're going to see something interesting. I've got my cell phone with me still. This one is now the driver's cell phone. Okay?
Right.
I say assign the driver. And you'll see what happens. The driver will get an SMS that will tell him, there it came through just now. You'll see it now. At the top, I'm going to open this one at the top for you. And you'll see there, he has received a message, SMS, that tells him, go to your app on your cell phone, and here you go, there's a load for you. And then what the driver does, he opens up his app on his cell phone. Okay. And then he clicks on pending. That's now the driver. And you'll see now what happens is he opens up the load. The driver on his cell phone will see the load. You see there? Let me just go. Aha. You see there it is. Now,
it's hard to see from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And you see there, he's got the map, everything on his thing. And then he goes to the pickup address. And what does the driver do? When he reaches the pickup address, he does what he does best. He picks up the goods. And then here at the bottom, it says start transit. All the driver does is he clicks on Start Transit.
Mm-hmm.
And the app, what will the app do? It will update his status. He has started transit.
Right.
Now, what happens to his bosses in the office? His bosses in the office clicks on transit. What do they see in transit? That same load. You can see where it is.
Right.
And now I'm busy doing a demo, so I'm sitting in one place with my cell phone. The driver was supposed to pick up the goods here, but you see now that's where I live, where I'm seated.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Sure.
that yellow pin is there. But if I was really now in the area and I picked up the goods there, that yellow pin would have been
Would
there.
show at
Yes.
A, yeah.
And you see at the bottom, it tells you transit started.
Right.
Here's the driver. I don't need to phone my bosses. They see this in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Plus, what's the other beauty of it is the owner of the cargo receives even an email. And remember, the driver only said started transit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now what will happen? The driver will, he will see, there it is, status updated. Transit for goods has been updated with the status. And here, that address was not picked by the driver typing it in. It was picked from the driver's cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So that is how it works. The driver doesn't need to make a phone call. Now the owner of the cargo goes to his application in his office or his dispatch clerks. They click under transit and they see here's the load. And they go down. They say, okay, so no phone calls. Everybody knows what's happening on the load. No one else will see this. Only the owner of the transport goods and his dispatch clerks, and only the transport manager or owner and his loading planners will be able to see what's happening here. Now, let's look here. Okay, there I see the guy has sent me a message, and I said to him, yes, we have seen update on the app. You see, so there's the chat function as well.
Right.
Now what does the driver do? Let's get back to, in the meantime, the driver has reached his drop-off point, and you see there in black is the address. The driver clicks on finish the first drop-off, okay? And I'm going to do all three for you now, just to save us time. I'm going to say
Right.
I'm already at the second delivery done, and the last one, I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see now, the owner of the cargo will receive on all three. You'll receive the notifications. You see there, 3 replies, because there was 3 offload points.
Yeah, sure.
There it tells him, and it gives him the address. And that address is where the driver was physically at, picked up from his cell phone's GPRS coordinates, Google Maps. And there's all 3 notices of the loads going delivered. He deletes it. He goes to his supplier app, and he goes to the delivered side, and he sees here it's moved now to delivery. You see now.
Mm-hmm.
It's now delivered. Pick it up, have a look here, and he sees there's all the tracking updates.
The thread, yeah.
All right. And he can now rate the transporter. Okay. Let's go now to the transporter. I'm still with the driver. You see what the driver sees there. He can rate now the owner of the car.
Okay.
Right? And he can take a photo with his cell phone of the proof of delivery. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So now, we say, for instance, I'm going to rate the transporter as the driver. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take a picture. I'm first going to take a picture of the proof of delivery. Here you can see now I've got the phone. Okay? In this case, I'm the proof of delivery. Or rather, let me just take up, I want to show you here, you will see, I'm going to show you, I'm taking a photo of this. Okay, you can't see that. But nonetheless, I'm going to take a photo of my hand. Okay?
Yeah.
Or let me just, I've got a small paper here. I've got this paper. I'll take a picture of this paper. Okay?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
there you can see it. Okay?
Yeah.
This is now proof of delivery, and the driver clicks at the bottom, use this photo. Okay? And now he finishes his rating of the transporter. The first one is, how was the communication? I said, no, it was very good. I give him 5 stars. How were the trip and the cargo information? I give him 5 stars. Can you see that?
I think it's unless you take off the
Yeah. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you now how it looks on the screen for the people in the office. And I give him, how was the punctuality? It was very good. And then he says, rate the cargo supplier. How was the payment? Okay. Now the driver has done his part. He's finished delivery. He's rated the transporter. What happens in the office? Okay. Let's go to the office. The people in the office look at that load and they can see his bosses. That's the driver's office. They can see, yes, there's everything and there's the proof of delivery.
Right.
They open the proof of delivery, there it is. Okay. And what happens on the supplier side? The supplier again has received a notification that the delivery was done. He clicks on his supplier app, he goes to delivered, and he looks at the load. It's being delivered, and there he's got the history. After transit, and he can see the
proof of
proof of delivery as well, and his staff. So everybody is happy, but now they need to rate the transporter. They're rating the transporter. How was the communication? I'm happy. It was good. How was the punctuality of the service? He was a little bit late. Give him 4 out of 5. How was handling of the goods? No, that was very good. So he's got a score of 4.7 and he rates the transporter. There the cycle is done.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Let me see if some questions can clarify things up for those who would listen or see this later. So with I'll start with the payments actually.
Yes.
So the what you showed earlier was a payment to you because the payment was cash on delivery. So it was only the commission that was paid to you that we saw on screen.
Yes.
But how if it says 7 days or 30 days or whatever type of payment, how would the transporter be sure that he's going to get his payments at that time? Is there an escrow kind of system, or do we leave it to the two of them to base it on trust?
We leave it to the two of them to base it on trust, because our belief is, if you see how the app works, we've got everybody's detail, number one. If someone here is not paying, what will that transporter do? He will give him 0111. He will never be able to move any more loads.
Right.
Therefore, we say that that guy will not take that chance because he's going to lose everything. We're going to block his account. Then there's a lot of people that say, yeah, but he can now just open another account. Okay.
Yeah, with different details.
Yes. How many cell phones is he going to have to get? How many emails is he going to have to get? You understand? Plus, we have the information that he's put in the first time. And the driver, we've got his ID. Okay. That's now on the transporter side. To come to, if a lot of people ask us, well, what happens if the load is just disappearing? then there again, we've got a lot of information. And also on the supplier side, we've got his company registration, we've got his personal details, his ID number, his address where he stays. Yes.
But that's easy with companies. How about the individuals who are using motorcycles or smaller vehicles to do deliveries? Yeah.
No,
usually they're not registered. I think it's easier here in South Africa because you have addresses, but in a place like Nigeria or Ghana.
Yeah, but remember now, there we need a photo of his ID and his driver's license.
Right.
You understand? And again, we come back to our rating. Anyone that is not playing the game fair won't have a future on life rate because of the rating system. And I'm positive that people would love to use this all across Africa because of the so many benefits it's giving them, saving them the money, saving him all of these time to find loads, telephone calls. And pretty soon, we will have a lot of people there with good ratings. And those are the ones that's going to be trusted most and used most. So if you are competitive and you're playing the game fair and square, then you have a future of moving loads and loads.
Lots of goods. But I what about, because if somebody is scammed on the app, of course, the person who did the scamming has no future on life, right? But doesn't it hurt your reputation as well? I mean, the person wouldn't trust your app enough to do another transaction on it. Is it not better that you take charge of the payment part? I mean, with an escrow system that you can, I mean, just like an Amazon will do, of holding the money till the service is completed, and then they can release it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And you see that can work exactly the same, but it's in the hands of the owner of the cargo and the transporters. And you must also remember, especially on our application, if it's a company, the company's name will be there. And you can even add your company logo on the app. You remember on the, if you can review the video afterwards again, you will see the driver that's assigned, there will be a photo of the driver if he picks it up.
Sure.
Vehicle registrations will be there. And again, also the cargo owner, you will be able to see which company it is if it's not an individual. If it's an individual, you will see who is the individual. And then you just need to push that through. So we hope and we trust, because of the whole cycle and the rating systems, we will eliminate. And I think we will, most of the people, I think you will always get people trying to do something.
Sure.
but you know, and as I say to people, the transporter, when he prepares the quote and he's not happy, he can change the terms to COD for a start. Remember, I showed you when the transporter quote, even if the owner of the cargo said he wants to pay 30 days, the transporter can say COD. And if he's accepting it, he comes with a truck, he refuses. That's what we do in Africa. You refuse to download, pay. Otherwise, I'm taking the load and I'm going to sell it, you know?
Yeah. So I think it's always best from the beginning when there's no relationship to do a cash on delivery. So you build trust over time.
Yes. And over time, you will also start recognizing your quotas. You will say, okay, but this is again James. I've used James before. I trust him and his rates is good. I use him.
Perfect. Perfect. So you say it's already in 57 countries?
Yes.
I can imagine that's countries out of Africa as well.
We are from Uganda right down to South Africa. All sub-Saharan countries, those are 18. And then we have also launched in Nigeria. And we will soon cover the rest of Africa. Then we are in the whole of United Kingdom.
Mhm.
We are in all the European Union countries. We are in
Great.
India, Pakistan, Turkey.
Mm.
We are in Canada, and we will soon
Nice.
open up in the United States, and we are
Great.
in Australia.
There's a lot of competition there, I suppose, in the US.
The thing is, there is competition, but I don't know that market that well, but we have not seen an app like this in any of those countries.
Right. I mean, like I said, I tried this before, and I think the first few ones that I saw were from the US, and that's some of the models that I was looking at from there. And I think you mentioned one already, the competing with the bidding systems, and there are several other ones in the US as well. But I'm not sure I've seen one with blockchain technology, with the
And
cloud
AI,
system as you.
and machine learning. And you
Yeah.
see this application, you don't need a web page. It's on your cell phone. And with our system, everybody in the queue on that load,
Mm.
the owner of the load and his subordinates, if he has, will see the load moving in real, like you saw now. Plus the same on the transporter side. So here it's not like all the other sides where the companies, you still need to contact them, or some of the professional big ones, you need a user ID and a password, then you can log into their system. Now you must sit and you must log into 3 or 4 or 5 systems to see where's your cargo. Yeah, you can do it on your phone while you're sitting at home.
Right.
Everything on one place. And there's no software licensing fees. There's no servers that you need on your premises to have software running this. It's all in the cloud. You can sit on your computer from home and watch what's happening in your company. Your staff can even sit at home and capture their loads. So even on COVID, you saw now, there was no human interaction here needed.
Yeah. Great. So I can imagine with all these countries, so the app has a functionality of supporting all the different languages as well.
We have not gotten that. It's in English now, and we are a young startup.
Right.
But believe me, we've already put our strategy. The first monies that comes in, we're going to put French priority and Portuguese.
Right.
French and Portuguese first, and then we'll go to the others, because the most of Africa is either English, French, or Portuguese. That's it.
Yeah, exactly what I wrote here. And the language as well. Hey, sorry, the currency. So you mentioned most of Africa
the
take
currency.
the dollar.
Yes,
I think the dollar is mostly with the corporates and the big companies, but if we have to use the smaller SMEs, then you might have to bring the currency down to their national currencies as well.
Yeah, we can have a look at that, and we will see if there's enough interest. They put pressure and they say we want to, but for now we have made it US dollars, but it is still very cheap. I can just quickly again show you, and the people can go onto the app. I'm going to share my screen again for you.
Right.
Then you can have a look. I just want to go here on our web page. You go on our web page, and it's actually very good to show you here, which is important. There is the top is your home, how it works, about pricing, frequent asked questions, how the videos. How to videos is also important. Here we have videos that shows you how to register and add cargo on live freight, how to register and find the cargo load on live freight, how to add and manage your vehicle and the driver.
Right.
And then pricing. For instance, here you'll see now, if I say my current country, you said you are in Ghana.
I come from Ghana. Currently, I'm in South Africa, though.
You're in South Africa now, but let's.
Yes, I'm in Pretoria.
Hey, but then we must go and have a coffee. I'm also in Pretoria. So
yes, sure.
We'll chat after this. I'm going to connect with you. Okay, so now I can say select the country here, and I go down to, let's say, for instance, Kenya. You can see here,
Right.
US dollar, Uganda.
Yeah.
Let's say Uganda, or let's say Kenya, okay? And then I want to show you now, if the cargo is below 500 kilograms, if it's a small parcel, say 400 kilograms, then we
Yeah.
say Mombasa, and to which town are we going to transport? You know Kenya?
Yeah, I mean, probably to Nairobi, to the capital.
Nairobi, and we say calculate the price, okay? And look at that. The distance is 485 kilometers.
Right.
And they are only going to pay a fee for this small cargo load of four US dollars.
Yeah.
It's not much. 5.
Yeah.
Now let's see what happens if it's bigger. Let's make it 40. Let's make it 30 tons. 30, 1, 2, 3. 30,000 kilograms. Calculate the price. And then it's just going to go up a little bit. $24.29.
Right.
And remember, this is the only time they pay is when they do work on live freight. In other words, if they have obtained a load successfully. The rest of the time, the app is used for free. That is the only money that will ever be paid.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And it's great. I think the only problem for some part of Africa, if I take Ghana as an example, usually is the exchange rates, and most of the Visa cards, would be locally denominated currencies. And when the exchange rate fluctuates a lot, then people are not happy when they have to deal with dollars. And so maybe something you need to think about, and if there's a possibility.
That's a very good point to have. Yes. Or maybe put a wallet for them up and say,
exactly.
Put a wallet for them up, and that's the money. I'll discuss that with our coding companies. And that's the other thing I want to say. We are listening to what our users say to us. Because we believe the demand is going to be there for this application because of so many benefits already.
Yes.
But we want, and that's why I've showed you the multiple loads, because that was some of the customers said to us, but we want multiple loads. And we created it for them. And that big bulk one. If the guys tell us in Africa, listen, but in most African countries, we prefer put up a wallet for us or something. And then, and then I must also say, but you say the fluctuation, and that's true. It goes up and down. That is a problem. But we review the exchange, we pin it for 12 months.
Right.
And then we review it after some time.
Okay.
Unless there's a huge drop or variance, then we will do it in real time.
I think I'm very much happy about the tracking side of it also, because from what I'm hearing from some of the existing vendors of load boarding apps, they're having a lot of human intervention because they need people at the loading points to record. They need people at various points to report back to the office whether the cargo is in transit and so on and so forth. There's, for instance, a big problem in Ghana with Ghana Customs, tracking transit goods from the ports in Ghana to Burkina Faso or Mali or Niger. Because what happens most of the time is that the goods are destined for these countries, but they end up in the local market because customs is unable to track these goods. So they've had systems where they put trackers on the goods and somebody picks it and puts it in his backpack and goes with a truck to the border, yet the goods end up in the local market without paying the taxes or duties required. And I've been thinking through, is there a system that could help solve this problem? And it looks like this is kind of one that can do the job.
I'm very happy to hear that. And what I see in the future now that you're talking about it is we would very much like to, once live freight has getting a big footprint in Africa. We want to then lobby with the border posts that it becomes paperless. In other words, we link their computer systems at the border on live freight.
Yeah.
No more paper. The official sits at the border. He does everything on the computer, which he already does. Now we'll just tweak it so that it links straight with API, general API on the app. So now the driver can have a paperless border pass, but still doing all of the clearing that is necessary, but it will be all electronic.
Yeah.
And everybody will be able to follow it on live freight, on that load, the people who is connected to that load, as you saw now. No one else will see it. The security is high.
I think it's a good product to showcase to them, because it's been a headache for a long time. And there were even proposals that the taxes and duties from those countries should be paid in Ghana before the goods set off. I mean, there's been all sorts of solutions that have been bundled around. And I think this probably will do the trick. Because, I mean, the truckers, sometimes batteries die, people take them off the trucks and so on and so forth. And this might be a proposal that appeals to them.
And the other thing I can mention as well is this, like I said, it's like Facebook or it's like Gmail. So in other words, because people ask me, but is this capable of tracking across border? Remember now, I know a lot of drivers. What they tend to do is when they cross the border, they put another SIM card in their phone. Isn't it? Because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But what happens? They can still access their Facebooks.
So long as there's data.
They still access their live freight app and they continue in the next country. We've had loads going from here, from South Africa right through Namibia, through Botswana to Zimbabwe. And no problems.
Perfect. I had one question here. I'm not sure, but it's once loads are uploaded on the app, it behoves on the transporters to go back there and look. Or is there a notification sent to them?
As I showed you now, everybody sees when the transport starts and when it's
not when it starts. I mean, when there's an available load, and I find myself in Pretoria and I'm going back to another town. I have to go back to the app to check if there's something available. Okay, great. So there's no.
But I must just answer you there correctly. Just say again the whole question.
And I was thinking of another possibility where, but I don't think it's practical, because then it's a lot of messages going to people who might not need it. Because my thinking was that once somebody uploads something, then if it's possible for me to get a notification as a transporter that, well, this load is available in this area. But thinking about it again, I think it's kind of...
Yeah, we can work on that one on the future. We've already made a note, okay? But the difficult part is, how do we know where the trucks are? You understand?
Exactly, yeah. That was the second thinking I had.
And then again, on the other side, as you've seen now, how quick can I find loads around any time? Within 10 seconds. Using data.
Right.
So, yes, if there's no load today, you go tomorrow morning, 10 seconds of your time, and you search and you find, and it's costing you nothing, it's only the data. And the data is next to nothing, eh?
Nice.
But we will definitely in future also improve on that one to see which guys operates in these areas. With machine learning, we will be able to sort out which routes these guys' trucks are on. So that will be coming in near future. As the app gains momentum, these add-ons is going to be quite possible. But we need to have the historical data to tell someone where's the load. But we'll get there.
Right. Yeah. And possibly my last question has to do with regulators. Have you had any encounters with them yet? Because usually, you know how Uber has had to encounter a lot of regulators in different countries and some kind of resistance also. I'm not sure if you've already encountered something with the regulators already.
No,
Not yet.
not
Yeah.
yet.
Not yet.
There was some regulators that have seen the application, but the way it operates, like I said to you, remember now, there's big differences is Uber employs drivers, isn't it?
Yeah, so I mean that was the argument. So I told you earlier that sometimes I work with the Ministry of Transport in Ghana, and there was a case that drivers brought up to them, and Uber would always say the drivers are not our employees. We only offer a platform, so we are not a transport company. We only offer a platform for them to use, and that was a big issue that was under discussion before I left, and that's why I'm asking the question about regulators whether.
Yes. Now, Uber, in fact, Uber employs the owners of the vehicles. You see, that's where the difference is. Uber does employ some of the operators, even though it's only the vehicle owner. And that's why you have these. But what we do with life rate, if you listen carefully and what you've seen, we don't interfere with anyone. Because the regulators is worried when you interfere. What we do is we give a tool. We're not interfering with the existing thing. We are improving possibilities for them. So the existing transporters, the existing drivers, they just use our platform to move the goods.
Right.
Like a lot of people have their own expensive software at the moment on site, which they use. And the regulators don't interfere there.
Right.
So we are not interfering in anyone's operations or anything. We are just giving them a tool to improve.
Perfect.
We are a technology service provider.
Nice. That's a good way to end it.
Yes.
Technology service provider, yeah.
And that's exactly what we do.
Great, great. And I think the opportunity is quite big because these days smartphones are in everybody's hands. They are quite cheap.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's data available all across Africa. And so it's easy to, so I mean, even if the driver loses some network,
yes,
so there are people in the office who have control of the system and can always tell when where the truck is at any point in time.
Yes.
So I think it's a very good system out there. Great, great. You have anything to add? I'm not sure. I think I've exhausted all my questions.
Okay. What we'll do is I will WhatsApp you after the meeting. And if you're still for some time in Pretoria, let's have a coffee on me and just discuss again, because later on you will get other questions and we can do it.
Great.
But
That's
what
perfect.
I want to close first of all, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure to speak to you. And for us, it's a pleasure to introduce this into African market, because we believe we're going to help people. We're going to enable them to achieve a lot more than what they currently can do. And we want to keep it that way. And we want to remain the cheapest, as you call it, platform that is out there, because I know what the brokers charge. I know what some of the other guys charge. And we offer a lot more at a lot lower price for them. And then the last thing is we are open to partnerships. We are open to discussions always, because with us, we want to give the consumer, our customers, what is best for them, and further to improve the continent of Africa's inter-Africa trade, and also to improve individuals to become big market players in improving the whole of the economy of Africa. And by finding more loads on this app and getting more loads on this app, we believe that we will also see less carbon emissions eventually, because the vehicles will be running fuller than currently with this app. But we need the loaders to be on. The cargo suppliers join us. The more loads we have, Our success on this app is not built on live freight. We give the tool, but if the transporters and the cargo suppliers join this app, they will make it successful.
Yes.
And
I agree.
everybody is going to save a lot of money, and they will make more money because there will be fuller vehicles running around, less tires on tar, less carbon emissions, and less pollution, which is also a big plus point.
I agree. I agree.